The Gemara on Daf 26 of Shabbat asked the question, can an item be muksa for half of Shabbat? So muksa is something that it's forbidden to use on Shabbat. So for instance, I'm not allowed to write on Shabbat. Therefore, my pen is muksa. There's no valid purpose for it on Shabbat, so I couldn't pick it up and just flip it between my fingers. I'm not supposed to touch it the entire time because it doesn't really have a valid use. If there was some reason that I needed my pen, I knew before Shabbat I was going to need my pen on Shabbat for some permitted purpose, I don't know, I shoved it in this door and I held open a window with it or something, then I could designate it as not muksa potentially if it had a valid purpose. This is the concept of muksa. But can something be muksa for half of Shabbat? This is the question that is raised. And in the simple case, it seems to be like there's a lot of reason to say yes, in that something can be permitted the first half of Shabbat and become muksa afterwards. The example I thought of when I was learning this was the shells of a nut. If you're going ahead, if you've got walnuts and you're cracking, that's totally permitted. It's food you can eat on Shabbat, and you can crack it, and you take out the nut, and then the shell. Well, this is now muksa. You're not supposed to be moving these shells; they have no longer more purpose. We see this shell was not muksa, and now it is muksa. But really, the question is asking the opposite. It's not can something be permitted the first half and then prohibited the second half. We see that that's possible, but can something be prohibited the first half and permitted the second? Can it be muksa the first half of Shabbat and then permitted? Normally we say that's not how things work. The way something enters Shabbat is how it stays. If it's prohibited when Shabbat enters, it's going to stay that way all of Shabbat. But the Gemara does go to an example that I found is interesting, and this is a Yom Tov example, not a Shabbat example, of an animal, firstborn animal, that can't be eaten because it has to be given to the Kohen, to the priest, but it's not given to the Kohen if it winds up developing a blemish. So what happens if the first half of the day, it's born before the day and it's perfect and therefore has to go to the priest, cannot be used, it is considered to be muksa, cannot be eaten. Then it develops a blemish, and it has a blemish, and then it could be valid for food, so would it then be unmuksa for the second half of the day? And this is the debate, whether or not it can go that direction or not.